Hello.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
It is going well. How about you?
Good, good, getting better, man. We're just getting started with class here. We are working on the sculpt that we had last class, moving forward with that. And I still know a lot of you guys are having trouble with getting your ZBrush licenses. So definitely, uh, you know, trying to get you guys the ZBrushes as soon as we can. I think there's something wrong with the IT department at school where the licenses aren't showing up even though they've paid, and because they hadn't paid it at the right time, it lapsed. So like it's a whole process for them as well. So we're trying to give them the most leeway that we can. So that's why if you can get ZBrush Core Mini to do some of these exercises and do the assignments through that, that's the way to go until they get that issue resolved. So make sure that you're not just waiting around and not doing anything and saying, "Oh, the school isn't giving me ZBrush, so I don't have to practice my skills." Right? There's other avenues, right? You're just like another thing I'm trying to impress on you guys is these are just tools, right? These are just tools. Tools break down all the time. Your job is to find a different way to do it, right? So ZBrush Core Mini, Mudbox. Like if something like this happens on a job, you want to be able to know that, all right, just because ZBrush doesn't exist, I can still get my job done because you have the prerequisite skills to do it in any software necessary. So with that being said, let's get started with our sculpt here and continue from there in ZBrush and follow along in ZBrush Core Mini if you have to. All right. So last class, we kind of got to a good groove with our character here. We started the pure ref board with all the musculature that I've posted on the chats there, and we're using those pure ref boards to guide our sculpting here, right? And I try to impress on you guys that whenever you guys are doing your sculpts, whenever you guys are doing your models, right, always have reference handy. And our reference tool that we're using for this class, if you get a chance to get it, is called PureRef, right? So remember, we have a PureRef board going with all of our reference, guys. Remember, I'm going to emphasize this every time I get on one of these calls with y'all. Use reference. Do not go blind. It'll take, even if you're crappy, right? Even if you're trash, or like even if you consider yourself absolute garbage. If you use reference, it's gonna come out closer than if you didn't use any reference at all, right? And I know sometimes it feels like, I can just do it, I can just wing it. Look at reference. I'm telling you, look at reference. It's so important. It is going to develop you so much faster than if you don't, right? Studying how the arms work and how they contort, what they look like in different positions. This is all available to you, right? Get it, use it, make yourself a board, save it so that whenever you get a chance, you're modeling something, you're sculpting something, you have it to refer back to. All right. And but back in the day, I would have like thrown some reference behind here if I had reference, but Pure Ref makes this so easy to use that it's crazy how easy Pure Ref makes it. So it's free, right? You don't have to buy it. Whenever you're checking out, just put $0, and you should be good to go. All right, let's go 3D view. All right, I've got no board up now, so let's get some modeling in. All right, so we worked on the torso, abs, pectoral muscles, and things like that last week. We did a little action on this middle kind of cage right here because we looked at that elite character, so we were kind of going from there because I got a cool suggestion. I don't know who said it, but somebody was like, he kind of looks like an elite, and I was like, that's very elite like. So we used that as some reference as well. So we're kind of going through and we're making progress. So I'm gonna go. Let's see if I can find some maybe back reference, right? Because the back is looking super bare and unworked on. So I'm gonna try to see if I've got any good back reference that I can use here. And if I don't, I'm gonna, I think I should have some in a folder somewhere. All right, I think this is all face, neck, shoulder. There we go. Here's some. All right, back. Here's some back. That's one right there. Let's see if I can find another decent one. Okay, so here's a basic anatomy of the spine and the scapula. So the spine of the scapula right there, the body of the scapula, right? So this is the interior angle and then the medial angle, and then this is your spine in the middle, the rib cage, and this is it on the other side, like a mirror of it, right? So this is how your scapula kind of helps your arm kind of rotate up, and this is a good reference too right here. So probably going to use something like this as our reference. We've got good musculature reference here. So if you see the bony landmark of the scapula, right, the spine of the scapula, not this spine, right? We're not talking about this spine. We're talking about this spine right here, right? The medial border and the inferior angle. You also see the borders of the back muscles, right? So right here, right, you see those borders, they all coincide with a lot of those landmarks. So when a person is muscular, shoulder bony landmarks look like depressions between the muscles. So like if you've got muscles like this, right, whenever your scapula is pulling up in that angle, you see that it looks like it's got a depression right in there, right? And if the person is lean, they protrude. So skinnier people, those kind of angles will protrude on them. So these are little things that help you guys, right, when you're making characters, right? And this is like a kind of a side angle. So this is the latissimus dorsi, the serratus anterior, and then teres major right here. So these are landmarks, and you can see that the serratus anterior is covered by the latissimus dorsi right here, and that is one of the things I learned when I was I don't even know why I remember this, but I know that the latissimus dorsi is like the biggest muscle on the back, right? That's like your biggest, that big broad muscle that you see on somebody's back. That's that muscle. It's this guy right here. Right here, this giant guy, and it wraps right over this serratus anterior, and it looks serrated, right? If you look at these muscle striations, they look serrated, like it looks like a serrated kind of edge. So I think that's where it probably gets its Greek name from. So, or its Latin origin name. I don't know if it's Greek. It's Latin. I know that. So those are some of the references I'm going to use. So if you're looking for them, they are in the references section of the Discord chat. All right, you've got access to it. Let's get to sculpting. All right, so we're just going to start putting in and roughing in some of those landmarks. All right, so maybe I start with right here. Whoops. I don't have my symmetry on, so I'm going to turn on my symmetry. All right, so now, all right, and I this clay is a little hard for you guys to see, so let's maybe go to something a little darker gray like that, so you guys kind of see what I'm doing. And there's kind of, right, if we imagine, right, there's a spine, and I'm using the Damien standard brush, right, just drawing on the spine, and because it's symmetry, I know that it's working. And my smoothing is a little intense right now, so I might just turn it down quite a bit, right? And then I'm going to just try to draw out some of these muscles that I see. And the thing is, I am not perfect at this. I'm not some anatomist, but what I do is I use the reference that I have, right, to create what I'm seeing, right? And that, at the very least, will bring my characters to life. And that's the approach. That's my approach to modeling a lot of it, right? Once you get reference on it, you study the object, you observe things, right? When you do things in that manner, in that fashion, you're going to come out with the best possible product. You may not be the best at it, but you're going to come out with the best possible outcome because you're taking it little by little, small by small, detail by detail, little portions by portions. You're going big, then you're going small. You're looking at, okay, this is what a real one looks like, and this is what maybe mine should look like, right? So now we're going to draw that, the lats that we were talking about. All right, looking at some of these musculature, I'm going back and forth for my reference here. So let's find, all right, I kind of put that in. Yeah, and this latissimus dorsi muscle, right, if you're looking at it from the side like this, right, it kind of goes like that, right? And then it kind of goes kind of like that, right? Now I can smooth this back out. And the cool thing is, now because I'm starting to draw these in, whenever I'm ready, I might, either do like a little clay tool or clay brush or something to kind of give it a little bit of texture, a little bit of surface to it, right? And that's just going to make it look a little more interesting, a little more real. So, all right, so now we're going to go add some more of this back muscle. I'm going to add a little bit to the trapezius over here. So I'm going to go to my clay buildup tool, and I'm going to try to start using this to start building up some of my muscles here, right? And like I said, I'm not Mr. Perfect. I'm using reference, right? That's what makes effective models, people who can find the reference. And sometimes the reference for what you're trying to do, it might not exist, right? It might not exist, right? And in that case, well, you got to use the best, your best judgment, right? So now I'm just using the reference to, right? And I'm looking, all right, so there's a little piece right here. Let's go for the tramps. So under the arm, kind of goes like so. All right, and then there's muscles that are like right there. All right, and then boom. All right, and then it goes like so. All right. I'm just looking at reference, right? Just looking at reference and throwing down some of what I see. So now might draw, right? See, that's a little, that's a lot. You need to be careful, right? And you see how low the resolution I'm working in? The reason is because this gives me a chance, if I mess up and I smooth it out, I'm not, I haven't gone too far in the decision, and I'm not on too high a poly count, right? So you don't want to lock yourself into something that you can't change easily, right? So I'm giving myself that. I'm going to work on the glutes a little bit, right? Looks like maybe we'll add a little muscle like that. Right, I'm gonna try to focus on this, the back of the arm and this spinal column, but I want to find reference for it, right? And as I'm moving through, you notice I'm not going further unless I have reference that I'm looking at. That gives me something of what's going on back there. The reason I can't look at the back of my own arm, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know, what the reference looks like. So I need reference. And you guys are gonna go, this guy talks about reference a lot. Yeah, because it's important. It's important. All right. So now, I think I found some decent reference for like the arm. So they call it. This is called the brachioradialis, right? So let me get the image for you guys. So the brachioradialis and ECRL, from and during movement. So this is the brachioradialis, and this, I think we showed this last class, right? Which is this muscle that helps us kind of bend our arm like this, right? But this is also good reference for some of these parts that I was looking at, all right? But I do kind of want more of a back facing towards the back shot. See if I can find that. See, we got a lot of good frontal angles. I'm looking for good, right? Because even if I don't nail it 100%, 50, right, 60% of nailing that form is gonna look better than your I just guessed vision. You know, like that's that's just the basic philosophy. You know, so all right. So there's, I think there's like the head of a muscle right here. I'm gonna do this. All right, boom, like so, and then we'll do another one like that, and then we'll have them meet like so. All right. Now this guy's kind of, he's getting super ripped up. All right, I'm gonna reduce the size of my my Damien standard brush, and maybe give this guy some of that. Actually, that does not. It just doesn't look good. Every time I do that, it doesn't look good. So I want to see if I can find some good reference again. All right, all right, all right. That's what it looks like. And what I'm looking at is like kind of like this abdominal, kind of like this area where that serrated edge is, right? That serratus sounds like a car. The serratus. All right, so it comes like right here. So it's these guys right there, and then some of these muscles right here. So I have it in already, and I think maybe that's what's throwing me off. So maybe what I need to do is, because the lats are right there, maybe do the striations for the lats instead. You know, I think that'll satisfy why I feel like I'm missing something there. All right, yeah, that feels better. All right. All right, so now the problem with a lot of this stuff right now is it looks cool, but there's really no connectivity to it. And the thing that makes muscles and stuff look real is how they connect to each other, how they flow, right? And what you'll see is, even if I do like a little smooth, let's do a little smooth, and you'll see what I'm talking about, where it's like, okay, it smooths okay, but there's just too many harsh stops and starts for it to look realistic, like realistic muscle. Real muscle folds over the top of each other, right? This would go under this. The latissimus dorsi folds over those serratus edges, right? And we want to depict that, right? And that's what makes the musculature and those kind of things look more real, right? These depressions that you're gonna get. And now that I've gone up a little bit, right? If I did some of these, you can start to do some pretty interesting things to it. But I'm gonna go back to this so that we can finish the rest of the form, right? You don't want to go any further, and that's why I'm just trying to tell you guys that it's gonna look a little funky now, but the goal in mind is I'm gonna smooth a lot of this stuff out. It's gonna look right. It's gonna, and that's the big idea, right? So let me file export. All right. So now let's look at the legs and the calves, because we've got the back, we've got the front, right? Something somewhat a little fleshed out. It's not perfect yet, but we're fleshing it out. All right. So now let's go to the legs and the feet. Well, let's go to the legs and these first, and then we'll do hands and feet maybe another day, because that's like another beast of its own. Like hands or feet. I mean, you think it's hard for AI? Shit, it's about to be hard for you. Just keep that in mind. It's one of those things that it's hard to master, right? The concept seems easy, 5 digits, but what you realize is those 5 digits have their own individual appendages, and each of those individual appendages can be moved and articulate at any given point in time, can be in any position, turned in almost 180 to 360 fashion. So to draw it in every single, you have to think about like things like that when it comes to drawing, like to be able to store all of those drawing angles in your mind, it's almost impossible. Like the reason that we've mastered certain parts of the body and certain parts are harder is because when it comes to the human shape, right? Our physical body, our torso, it can only turn in so many angles, right? We can only turn it left, right? Like you can't turn 360 like an owl. So the combinations of the drawings and the positions that you can put it in are going to be limited. You can't put it in a billion positions. But the hand is another thing. Just look at your hand right now, right? If you just looking at your palm, then turn it slightly. That's one angle. Then move your pinky down a little bit. That's another angle. Then, think about all the combinations that just your hand, can be in. Left, right, up, down, high, low. You can ball a fist. You can point. You can peace sign. Almost an infinite number of possibilities, positions that you have to be able to draw the hand in, right? So when you see people who draw hands really well, you got to give them kudos. When you see people who draw feet really well, kudos, because it takes some time to learn just those positions. And, they can only probably master like 10 or 15 positions, right? The human, you're not going to be able to draw all 100,000 positions the hand can be in. So those, you got to think about it in those practical terms of, damn, that's a lot of positions. That's a lot of memory that you have to have. So, I give a lot of those guys, a lot of those artists, a lot of those concept guys big respect. If they're doing all of their stuff by hand, you gotta give them respect because it's hard work. It's hard, to be able to know all those things, right? So let's keep moving. Let's go down here a little bit and let's look for some pure refs as usual. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. So now I kind of want to find some reference for this leg kind of area. Okay, Epic Games. I don't need your freebies right now. All right, let's look for the. Okay, I did a little bit of that already. Now let's look for. All right, this looks back, lateral, front, medial. Perfect. All right, this will get us a good portion of the way there. So if you're watching the video, you want to screen grab this portion to use, boom, go ahead for it. All right, let's start taking some of this detail right here. All right, so what I'm gonna use, I'm trying to maybe use the Damien standard to start drawing in some of my detail. All right, you guys can see I'm starting to dig this Damien standard a little bit more. All right, let's do a little Damien standard here, a little damn standard there. Right, just kind of defining that a little bit, maybe drawing. All right, just kind of saying, all right, I want to put this guy there a little bit. Maybe it's got a kind of a fat, thicker base. The head of the muscle kind of like that. The other one kind of goes like that, and it's got a little bit. It's like a little bit of the muscle kind of ties in right here, usually on the normal human, right, and not a weirdo goat pan kind of creature like this. You would have another muscle that kind of helps the leg, and there's like a little divot right here. right? But on us, I think I'm gonna make it kind of like another knee almost. So I'm gonna kind of make this another knee and give it that some knee-like structure, right? And then for this back, we're just gonna pull that bad boy down like so. All right. And this is all very Gumby-ish right now. It's still very ugly. All right. But now what we can do is I'm going to go to BCB, which is my clay buildup tool. All right. I've got my clay buildup. And now I can build up, right, this muscle part right here. But I've already defined it, right? Shift, smooth it out. You see how that works? I'm giving it a little bit of help by drawing it out first. And then I'm sculpting it up, sculpting it up. All right, like that. And then for this area, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to hit Alt on my keyboard. And then I'm going to boom like so on that side. I'm just going to, all right, I'm knocking it back. Alt to depress it. Shift. All right. And then this frontal area right here, there's a little bit of, it's like the bone kind of protrudes a little bit there. And then there's like a little bit of muscle right here that attaches on this side. And then there's like another muscle that helps attach in here. And these are the muscles that kind of help us walk, right? All right, and we're just putting those in. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Give my bro some cankles. All right. Whoops. Control Z. Shift. Smoothing it out a little bit. All right. And then with this, you can just depress it a little bit. Shift smooth. Right. Now we're just adding a little bit of definition to what we're working on. All right. All right, from the side angle, right? And now I need to add some muscles to this side angle. All right. So with this, I'm going to add a muscle right here that connects to that ankle. Shift to smooth it back down a little bit. And I'm going to reduce the size. Get my perspective back. Reduce the size. And then, actually, shift. Give me one moment. All right. Hopefully you guys are ready for this eclipse. You guys got your goggles, ready to watch this thing happen. I don't know. I don't know what the. I thought we just had another eclipse not too long ago. All right, so let's see. Trying to think of where I want to turn to. So I've got, let's look at the front a little bit more. All right, muscles kind of covering it. Ooh, there's kind of like a muscle that I'm missing that kind of goes right across. Right across. Because these are very interesting. So there's like some striations that go in there like so. Right? And these, right, like so, and there. And then like so. Boom. But there's like there's one that I think wraps around the entire surface, which is interesting. All right. So here we go. So now we've got some decent. Let me go to BMV. I'm gonna move some of this stuff around a little bit. Increase the size. Boom, like so. All right, give it a little bit more volume. You see, I'm just using the move tool now. All right. Control Z. There we go. This kind of looks weird from, there's certain angles that looks cool, and then there's certain angles that looks kind of weird. So I'm trying to fight that right now. There we go. And I'm just using the move tool now to kind of nudge some of these polygons into place. Right? And smooth it out. Smooth it out a little bit more. I might want to bring this guy in a little bit. There we go. So give it a little more volume on this end. Smooth it back out. There we go. Then add like the head of it right there, how it attaches. And then I'm good to go for now. Alright. Let's turn on my perspective view. See what it looks like in perspective. Alright, looks kind of cool. Alright. So on that note, next class we are going to do hands and feet. We're going to do hands and feet next class. So, if I divide it now, you can see, how we can start to get some cool things happening in there. So, does anybody have any questions for me? We're going to get to a level where we can start to do some detailing and, start making this guy look super gnarly. But I don't want to get to that yet. I'm going to still wait. You shouldn't be putting a belly button in a character that doesn't have a finished form, So it would be up here anyway. Probably up here. But yeah. All right. So that is it for today. We worked on the legs, the calves, and we fleshed out the back. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions for me, you guys go free to go watch the eclipse and just make sure you have your glasses on. Sorry, I'm just needling around sometimes. Sometimes, when you get started modeling something and, it's time to stop, you don't really want to. It's hard to stop. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I'm done for the day. I'm going to put it away. Yeah. Be a cool character. Cool, cool, cool. Let me do a BPR render. All right, cool. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.